met someone online.
He's the only person who listens to me.
He understands me like no one else.
He said he cares about you.
He makes me feel good about myself.
He's in love with me. He promised to protect me.
He promised to take you away.
Nothing exciting happens.
I just want to be anywhere is better than here.
Meeting him could be dangerous.
You don't know him like I do.
He would never hurt me.
He's not that kind of person.
Did he tell you about the others he tricked into meeting offline?
I want to go home.
Hello, my name is JoDee Garretson. I'm the Executive Director for the Support, Advocacy, and Resource Center, commonly called SARC. At SARC, we provide crisis services and advocacy to all victims, non-offending family members, witnesses, and anyone impacted by all crimes. Through SARC's Crime Victim Service Center, we support victims of crimes in addition to sexual assault. Services are free and confidential and are offered 24 hours a day. Another part of our mission of SARC is to provide prevention education to the community. Today our topic is technology safety. Being safe online is of utmost importance, especially for our children. Since we are moving into the summer months, kids have a lot more freedom and possibly unsupervised time. With us today, we have Lindsy Gladstone, Prevention Specialist from SARC, and also Detective Granger from the Pasco Police Department. Lindsy, could we begin with you sharing some statistics regarding technology safety?
Sure. Currently, there's about 80% of children ages 12 to 17 that are using social media or online, and about 60% of kids ages 8 to 12. With that, 29% of those kids play games with people that they don't even know.
I imagine it's really difficult to have local statistics, but we do know at SARC we have a joint program called Kids Haven. It's a shared program between our city and state, well, city governments and our counties, and in there we have an interviewer who talks to kids who have allegedly been abused. What we have found is that approximately 50% of the kids, their abuse is related to technology, whether it be sexting, social media sites, or just online grooming. And so that's another reason why it's so important. Can you explain a little bit how these offenders have reached access to those kids?
Yes, primarily they're using chat rooms or instant messaging, any type of social media. You know, kids, you know, even as innocent as, you know, playing words with friends, there's an option on there that you can chat back and forth. So offenders are looking for anywhere that they can access children.
Now, I imagine they don't necessarily always know the kids, is that correct?
Right. There's always a risk that anyone online is going to be that might have sexual motives when interacting with children online. Now, not everybody that you get online with is, you know, an offender, but you should treat anyone like they are. You know, we teach our kids stranger danger, and that same rule should apply to anybody online, because people can easily disguise themselves as anyone behind a computer screen, and they could potentially be someone that would want to cause harm to children.
Well, how do the predators target children, and how are they able to, the children are even exposed to them to begin with?
Online predators are seeking children that are maybe vulnerable to seduction. They may have a past history of sexual or physical abuse. They're also looking for children that are seeking attention. Now, most of the victims that we've seen are girls, but there are 25% of victims are boys, and most all of the offenders are male. 1 in 5 teens will receive a sexual solicitation, and 80% of first encounters with an online predator has been in a chat room or on instant messaging, and half of those, they usually will start out offering them gifts.
So is the grooming similar to grooming that's in person, but just done online instead?
Right, right. The grooming online, you know, what they do is they're basically trying to, you know, lure kids in. They'll have a similar interests, maybe, you know, like they'll say, you know, what's your favorite color, and it just so happens that they're, you know, they say blue, and then, you know, it just so happens that their favorite color is blue as well.
Really trying to make the kids think that they found someone who is very connected and understands them.
Right.
Does that happen?
Right. They're, and what they're doing too is the popular sites that teens are getting on is Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, which are, you know, used to share photos and pictures. Kids aren't really realizing what they're posting. You know, they might say, you know, they just think it's funny. They think they're just, you know, just between them and their friends, but they don't realize the long-term effects that can have and who's really looking at those.
What are some of the risks with social media in addition to what you've already explained?
Well, I just think it's good for people to know that not everything you share is 100% safe. It's important to know that anyone in the world can see anything you put on at any given time. And what you send or text can be reblogged, can be retweeted. Hashtags can make things that you might have thought were just between you and your friends. It can, reach a greater audience than just your friends. Social media can allow communication with strangers and potential online predators. Sharing personal information such as your phone number, your address, can be very risky because it's a lot easier for people to track you down.
You spoke about grooming a bit earlier. Are there additional ways that predators try to entice children online?
Yes. Children have this sense of trust and confidence when they're online that, everybody's safe. Sexual predators will prey upon that. That's what they use. They want to develop an online relationship, which is designed. They are catering to the needs of that child in order to, have it become some sort of a sexual engagement. Kids think they're online and they're meeting new friends. That's not always the case. It's hard for them to know who these new friends are that they're engaging with. Could it be, something innocent? It could be something, of a bad nature.
Mm-hmm. You did a wonderful job of explaining what grooming is in general. Can you go into a little bit more detail?
Sure. Online groomers will use flattery. They'll use some sort of sympathy ploy towards a child. A lot of times they'll offer gifts. Maybe they say they have a modeling job, specifically for them, or they think they're beautiful. And it takes a long period of time. And these online groomers, they seem to have a lot of time. And they know that it takes a while. That's why it's called grooming. They'll want to make the victim feel, loved and secure just enough in order to get them what they want, in order to meet in person. They'll also work, what they call, work several children at once. But they're telling the one person that they're talking to that, it's just between them. And they'll design what they say based upon what the child's giving back.
It might be a good time to go ahead and watch a clip that illustrates that a little more clearly.
Yes.
The internet, it's a tool that has to be used properly. It's like a knife. I mean, it's very helpful, but it can also cut you. My name is Julie. When I was 13, I started talking to Tom. He didn't act or even sound like a 56-year-old man. So he was different on the computer. I knew that I wasn't supposed to be talking to him, but I did it out of a retaliation against my parents. It felt nice to have somebody who wasn't always trying to tell you what to do. It started to get more like a relationship where it went from just friends to best friends, a more personal relationship than best friends. I would instant message him between 3 and 6 hours a day. I was really upset whenever I couldn't get on the internet because I knew that he would be like, "What were you doing?" And he emailed me like 10 times wondering where I was at. Then you feel like extremely bad about it. It was an opportunity for him to manipulate more. I trusted him more than anybody else. He mentioned, wouldn't it be nice if we were together all the time? And then the thought came up of running away. The night I left, I kissed all my brothers goodnight, and he was in his truck, and we just rode out. I ran away for 3 weeks. The day that I was found, we were on our way to Reno. Somebody reported us and saw our truck. I knew pretty much it's over. And I never really thought the day would come. He's going to be in jail for 25 years. He sent a letter to me saying that it was my fault and that he was going to kill me if he ever got out of jail. I was really upset because he didn't say anything about caring about me. I didn't think of his background and I didn't apply it to myself, and so maybe he could have done anything to me, even killed me. And so, now that I'm back, I feel like there's this huge emptiness inside of me. If I could have talked to people, maybe I would have had a different view on some things. If you're planning to run away, it doesn't help solve anything. If it does anything, it makes it worse. Little things can end up becoming a big thing. I kind of wish that I never would have run away in the first place. I would never do it again.
Unfortunately, what happened to Julie happens to too many youth, and because of that, it's really important that we understand the different tactics used. Lindsay, could you explain a little bit more about some of the tactics?
Sure. Some of the tactics that online predators will use is saying something to them like, let's go private. You know, they're wanting to take that conversation that's a public conversation into something private, you know, either a text message or a private chat room just between them. They'll also say, where's your computer in the house? You know, that just is letting to see if the parents might be around or not. They might ask, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? Personal questions like that, because they're wanting, again, what we talked about with the grooming, they want to know more about you. So when it does get to the further in their online relationship, you know, and they offer them gifts, they'll know what kind of gifts to get them. Let's say they're on their favorite band is One Direction, and it just so happens now they have One Direction tickets, you know, to send them. They might say, you know, I know someone who could offer you a modeling job, so that, again, flattery. I know a way you can earn money really fast. Again, that's you know, enticement. Asking personal information, and then it'll lead to, you know, it starts off really innocent, and then it'll lead into something that could be dangerous. Maybe the child's already sent them a picture of themselves, and now the predator is saying, well, if you don't, you know, send me more, I'm going to tell your parents. So that's, you know, more intimidation, threats are made, and they're just trying to learn more about, you know, the target. And these types of online behaviors are something children and parents want to watch out for, because it can lead to dangerous situations like kidnapping, rape, sexual exploitation, or murder.
All right, thank you. So Detective Granger, do you have any examples locally of where there's been an issue of that technology's been involved and a child's been hurt?
Absolutely. We actually see these cases more often than people realize. One case that comes to mind is a relatively recent case from this year. Some middle school girls online started receiving messages from who they thought was another girl. Some of the things that Lindsay mentioned as far as how they groom these children, get them ready, is exactly what was happening. This person would start complimenting them on how they look and things of that nature, just trying to warm up to them. Eventually would start easing into asking these middle school girls to start sending photos. The person who was requesting this would then start sending the girls more risque photos of what they portrayed to be themselves. They were portraying themselves as a teenage girl. As a result of that, they would then start asking these middle school girls to start sending photos back, and eventually work their way into asking these middle school girls for nude photos. In this particular case, after the girls would send them, the person would just keep asking for more photos. If the girls then refused to send any more, this person would actually start threatening to send the photos out to the rest of the school. In at least one of the victims in this case, the person did just that. He actually turned around and took these nude photos of this middle school girl and started just indiscriminately sending them out to other members of her school. And that's the point at which law enforcement got involved in that case. When we started looking into that case, we started looking into this person's Facebook profile. It was all going on over Facebook. We were able to learn that the victims we had reported here were not anywhere close to all the victims. And in fact, we were able to, in a pretty short time, locate over a dozen victims from here in Washington State, Nevada, Virginia, as far away as Thailand. Once we were able to track it down, come to find out this person who was portraying themselves as usually a 15-year-old female, it was actually a 20-year-old man from Virginia. The FBI got involved at that point, and we were able to track down and actually locate exactly where this person was, and they were able to track down and identify the suspect. And it's then that they learned that it was in fact a 20-year-old man. Once they started talking to the suspect, he was willing to give them a full statement of what happened. He admitted to doing this to over 100 underage victims. He specifically said that he was targeting the ones between 12 and 15 years old because they were more willing to do this stuff. They got less scared, less nervous. It appears as though he portrayed himself to be a female because when the victims would get the messages, when they saw that it was a female asking for it, they felt more comfortable. They took for granted that this person who's portraying themselves as a female was in fact a female when in fact it wasn't at all. This gentleman has already been to court and he's actually awaiting a sentencing. He's pled guilty to the charges. Though he has 100 victims, he has pled guilty to 1 count of production of child pornography and one count of enticement, which is asking them to send and threatening if they don't. On those 1 counts, he is likely looking at nearly 25 years in federal prison as a result.
Just from the 1 count?
Just from the 1 count, yes, ma'am.
A couple of questions I have on that is, do you know, and you might not, but in your interactions with either the girls or offender or both, it seems like people might have a hard time understanding how young girls would think it's okay to send a nude photograph to another girl. Like, why would a girl want that? Did you get any insight into how they were able to be led to think that was okay?
I didn't really get any insight as to why they thought it was okay. It did, I guess, intrigue me, if you will, as to why they seemed so willing to send it to another girl. And I think it was the fact that when you sit down and think about an online predator, people have this certain picture in their mind. They you know, excuse the stereotype, but they picture the overweight middle-aged man in his parents' basement on the computer. So as soon as they see a picture of another female, the entire thought or concept of it being an online predator just, they don't think about it. It's not even a concept for them because they think it's a female, they feel comfortable. Again, he would send photos of somebody portraying to be himself that were less than appropriate, which made the girls feel more comfortable. Okay, I have pictures of her, or so they thought, so I can send them back. And there were actually times that when this person would start threatening, I'm going to send your photos out, the victims would threaten the same thing back. Say, I'll send yours out. And they would simply respond with, go ahead, it's not me. And it was at this point that the girls would start to realize that they got themselves into a situation that they didn't really know how to get out of.
Now, when he was able to contact a variety of the other ones in the school, because you had mentioned that he did send the pictures out to different ones in the school, how did he have access to the phone numbers, or how was he able to give that and contact the other students?
He sent it out. The cases that we had, the victims here, it was entirely on Facebook. And he would simply go through the victim's Facebook account and start looking for things that they had posted about their friends, times that they had posted, shared a post and tagged it as being with so-and-so. He'd then find that person on Facebook that they had tagged with and send it to them. He then knew that they were friends because they'd been tagged together or they had a photo together. And then same thing, it would just keep going from there. He'd find friends of them and start sending them out. The other way is on Facebook now you can tag people as family. They can tag you as, you can go on and tag your mother and father on there. He would access it that way as well. He would find relatives of the victim and start sending them out that way as well.
So the girls, the person had a lot more information about them than they even realized just from past interactions that they had been doing with social media.
Right, absolutely. They're able to get a lot more information than people realize off of social media, just with what you post. When you tag yourself at a location, that immediately gives them the city. I've seen things as simple as taking photos of people taking photos of themselves in front of street signs and then in front of their house, which has your house numbers on it. So it's things like that that children just don't think about, that when they post that, they're actually giving out a lot more information than they realize.
I think probably a lot of us adults do that as well without thinking about it. Yeah, that'd be easy to do. Do you know at all about what kind of impact this had on the girls, at least when you worked with them and they found out what was happening? Was it difficult for them?
Absolutely, especially some of these girls that had their photos sent back out. As you can imagine, that's a great source of embarrassment. A lot of them couldn't really realize how they'd gotten into the situation. This is a relatively recent case, so the long-term effects on these girls I don't know about yet, but I'm sure there's going to be some long-term effects there. It's going to be hard for them to trust people now because they found somebody that they thought they could trust, and in fact this person built trust with them and told them, you can trust me, and that trust, they looked at the ultimate betrayal of that trust when they found out this person was not who they thought they were.
They probably had a lot of self-blame and self-doubt, and probably a lot of concern about their own judgment at this point.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is really unfortunate. Considering how difficult it can be for victims, Lindsay, do you have any tips that could be helpful for parents on how they can help intervene and help ensure something like this doesn't happen?
Yeah, I would say first of all, recognize the good things that your kids are doing online. Not just do this, don't do that, because that right immediately is going to shut the kids down to a conversation. Maybe start something like, online gaming can be a lot of fun. You can meet friends, but here are the potential risks involved, with that. That can lead into more, what to watch out for as you're going through it together. You can also go through privacy settings, and if you don't know your privacy settings, ask them. More than likely, they're going to know more than you do. For an example, on Facebook, you can have them go into their account settings and delete their phone number. You can also set it to private, different things like that. And if you're opening that door for them to show you, that's more likely as a lead-in, to talk about the risks. Another thing is, just to kind of understand what is going on. Check these social media websites. Check out, these chat rooms. Just do a search on your own, and don't be intimidated. Don't be afraid to learn more about this. It is important because your kids are on it, and they're out there, and sexual predators are out there, and so it's very important for parents to know what's going on, in the context of your child's own experiences. Another thing is to spend time with your kids, see, the who, what, and why. What are they doing online? What are they playing with? What are they, looking at? Find out what kind of web content, websites they're on, chat rooms. Know what they're doing online. One simple thing to do is also to, think about where your computer is located in your house. Is it in an open area?
That brings up something that we should probably address as well. We talked about the different social media sites, but not so much the different ways that kids have access to to the internet, and how prevalent that is. And it's not really, we don't as often have one computer in the house, and that's the only way anymore. Can you give some examples of other means to access the internet?
Right. Primarily, it's a phone. Kids have cell phones, and that's what they're doing because they can be more private. They think the parents aren't watching over their shoulder. So it is tablets, iPads, your phones. That's basically the primary way they're looking.
Do some of the gaming devices allow access as well?
Right. Yeah, gaming devices as well. Again, they can meet new online gamers, and anywhere there's access for someone to get in and access children is what they're using. Another thing to look at too is usernames. Identifying what your children's usernames are. Some of them can lead online predators to that child if it's maybe an inappropriate type of username. It can also, depending on what your username is, let's say it's Sarah 2005. Well, right away that's telling someone that she's a female, and they know how old she is. She was born in 2005. A lot of times, kids will use that. That's something you want to stay away from. And then just basically, keep an eye on who's paying a lot of attention to your child. Is your child wanting to be secretive? Are they always, looking over their shoulder? Maybe deleting conversations. Find out what they're doing.
Okay. It's so important for the parents to be able to teach the kids to be aware of the risks online. Are there additional suggestions or issues that parents need to discuss with their kids?
Yeah, I can't stress enough the importance of personal information. That's definitely something that you want to talk with your kids about first of all, is limiting the personal information that you give out online. Something else you'd want to talk to them is, maybe just something as simple as doing a Google search of their name or a friend's name or someone's name, and that will open up the conversation just to see how the internet is so intricately connected. You can do a Google search on someone's name and their Pinterest account comes up, their Facebook account comes up, all of their social media is connected, with their Yahoo accounts and all that. So, you know, usernames, blogs, posts, pictures, anything that is on social media will and is associated to that name. It takes no time at all for someone to get personal information about you. I would also stress too about the effects of sexting and how nothing is safe online, again, like we all have discussed. So let's watch a clip that shows just how quick and easy it is to for a picture to be sent through the use of technology.
I heard it was 2 a.m. Check this out. That's cool. What else? Whoa! Yo, man. Yo, send that to me real quick. I'm not gonna. Come on, send that to me.
Man, you a pimp.
Yo, you pull that full screen. Look at that, boys. Check that out, boys. I had to send this to Mark. Send that out now.
This video does a great job of capturing how quickly a photo can spread. It's also important to realize that there's actually Washington state law against sexting.
To possess it is also possession of child pornography. What a lot of these girls don't realize too, or boys, anybody who's sending these photos, by them taking those photos and sending them, it's actually also considered production of child pornography. Even an act as simple as that, as a boyfriend asking their girlfriend, hey, can you send me a photo? And they respond with a nude photo, that is technically production of child pornography, and you end up potentially in the same classification of crime as the other individual that I spoke with earlier. You can not only be tried under state law, but it could potentially, you're actually in violation of federal law at that point by even requesting that kind of photo.
Oh, thank you. So Lindsay, if someone does have a concern of where do they report? Who do you tell if this has happened?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to recognize, you know, internet crime is a crime just like any other crime and should be definitely reported to your local law enforcement. You'll want to make a report if your child has been sexually solicited by someone that knows the child is under the age of 18. If your child has received anything sexually explicit images from someone that knows they're under the age of 18. And if your child or anyone in the household has received any type of child pornography. If that has happened, contact local law enforcement. You can also contact cybertipline.com. So yeah, you definitely want to make a report.
In addition to those, people can always call SARC as well. And it's important that people understand that if there's anything related to any crime victimization and they're not sure who to report to or where to go, SARC can always be called and we can help. Well, I want to thank our guests today for being on the show. And if you would like more information about internet safety or have any questions, please go ahead and give us a call at SARC. Our phone number is 374-5391, and everything is confidential and free of charge. Thank you.